Usernames in Signal, probably the biggest criticism of Signal Messenger, and you know what? I'm all for it.
No, I'm pretty sure the biggest issue is still the phone number requirement.
One note here is, we are rolling out usernames, which should launch in early 2024. Usernames will make it possible to communicate with anyone on Signal without sharing your phone number.
I'm pretty sure we've heard this song and dance before from Signal. You and Nate have even made jokes about it.
One of her first acts this week was to say that they hope to have usernames rolled out by early 2023. That's a big promise. I know that's something everyone's been screaming for years, us at Surveillance Report included. So if she actually delivers on that, that'll be a huge point in her favor. I'm very hopeful, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll eat those words. I'll admit that. Time will tell. But so far, this seems really promising. Like, yes, they're planning to roll out usernames, allegedly, someday before Jesus comes back.
Was it you who mentioned that the Signal, that Meredith said that it would be released early 2023, username support?
Yeah, usernames. They're still not here.
Yeah.
Not to mention that this feature is still only in beta. So perhaps calm down your fanboy energy and not jump the gun until it's actually released.
Signal has released a test version of the application, and you can already start to see some screenshots of people who use it. So you can set up your Signal username, and they even have a whole thread here for a staging environment where you can actually go and test this yourself. So yes, those of you watching right now can actually download a version of Signal directly from Signal that allows you to use usernames.
And who's to say this feature won't be stuck in beta for a long time or development stalls out completely? For all we know, this could just be another carrot on a stick to keep people using the app while hoping for username support.
Now you might be thinking, why the hell is this so complicated? Just roll out the feature. Come on, what are you guys doing? Just twiddling your thumbs. But actually, it's a much more complicated feature than that. So if you go here, like most things that Signal does, they really go from the ground up and try to make sure it's done in the most private and secure way imaginable.
Oh yes, the most private and secure way possible is to require a phone number. Funny thing, Signal forks like sessions seem to work just fine without any personal information, including a phone number. But yeah, what do I know? I'm just relying on logic instead of blindly shilling a problematic app.
You brought up Session, and I was thinking of comments. We get like 1 million comments about Session. People think that like we shill Signal back here, which yes, I kind of do, but also like I feel like I give Signal the amount of love that it deserves, and I also crap on it when it deserves crap. And this is the kind of stuff that really does tend to separate Signal from the competitors, is that Signal really pays attention to these small details.
You serious?
So what was their excuse for sending notifications to contacts when you signed up? You mean to tell me nobody at Signal thought it might be a privacy issue? Seems like something that should have been caught in the planning phase, or even shortly after rolling out the app.
Now, why usernames? Well, as of right now, the way Signal works is you register with a phone number, and then the only way to add someone to Signal is if you share your phone number with them. People are used to sharing phone numbers in person, and so it's actually, if anything, more convenient, I think, to be phone number based, because people already have your phone number. You go, hey, can you just add me on Signal instead? And they don't need to do anything else. They already know how to contact you on Signal.
Convenient, yes. Private, definitely.
With that said, the lack of usernames really has been a missing feature in Signal for a long time, and it's not something I've been proud of.
You're not proud of it? Well, clearly it doesn't bother you very much, especially when you continue to use and heavily promote Signal.
Dude, they just need a way to add other devices to Signal. That is the only thing it is missing for me. And on that note, it'd be cool if it had a camera, just so I could take a photo on the go for anything, but I don't even need that. If they had a workaround for Signal, I would actually daily drive the phone. Because I realized that for just local use, if I'm just going to the grocery store, if I'm just going to town to do whatever I need to do, I don't need my smartphone. I can literally just bring the Punkt with me for emergency calls and Signal, and then if I ever need to travel and go out of town, that's when I would bring a smartphone with me. That's my issue. There's not, people say like, well, this is better than Signal. It's like, well, the usability is not better. It doesn't have the same features as Signal has, and it actually is like not as secure as Signal, so it's not better than Signal. It just solves one issue with Signal.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what everything is. Everything solves just one issue with Signal, but Signal still seems to be like the standard. for like privacy and security for a messenger, even though it has that phone number requirement. This is actually one of the few things I prefer about Telegram, because Telegram, similar to Signal, requires you to register with a phone number, but once you do that, you can hide your phone number and set up a username, and then that's how you communicate with people. Now, for the record, based on everything I can see, that is what Signal's going to be doing. Signal is not dropping the phone number requirement. That is how they prevent spam.
So, then what's the point of their proprietary blob of code if that was also meant to prevent spam?
Also, just a quick note, I said Signal is completely open source. Since this incident happened, they have added a small bit of proprietary code that they use for fighting spam and abuse. Again, this is a very tiny bit of code. I don't think it's really something to worry about. The only reason it's not open source is so that spammers don't figure out how to get around it any faster than they already will.
So, fighting spam is just a cop-out excuse to require phone numbers. At the end of the day, it's just a lazy way to combat spam even when it's not an effective measure.
And that is how they currently have your account tied to you. And there currently is no other option to get around that. So for people wondering if this means no phone number requirement, that is not what's happening here. If you're looking for a messenger without a phone number requirement, maybe look at something like Briar or Session or Simplex or anything like that. That's not going to require a phone number.
Nothing says private and secure like tying your phone number to a messenger account. And yet, according to you, Signal is the ultimate messenger app. At this point, I don't think you understand the term private.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
This is super exciting. So just to summarize, this is a quick video just kind of keeping you all updated on a major announcement in the privacy community. And you might be thinking, why does this deserve its own video? That's because Signal is probably the most popular private and security messaging service that at least we recommend and most people in the privacy community recommend. And this is one of the biggest announcements I think Signal has done in a long time.
Signal has only gotten popular because you and other channels heavily shill Signal over the better alternatives. There's only a handful of times where you mention any other messenger. Even fewer times where you mention other messengers without mocking them.
I don't think Signal's ever going to remove the phone number requirement. That's like, the whole point of Signal is to replace things like SMS. That's the point of Signal. In order to do that, in this day and age, everything is phone number based. That's the way people communicate. If you meet some new person on the street, you're either asking them for a social media handle or you're asking them for a phone number. You don't ask for their email. And you don't ask them for their session ID. So like, everything right now is based on the phone number, and I think Signal's going to stay that way. I don't mind name calling here Session. Session has a few selling points for sure. But I really think what it comes down to is the lack of phone number requirement. And in order to do that, Session actually has some drawbacks in its security that Signal beats it in. So it's not even like a Session is better in everything kind of comparison. It's just Session solves one big issue with Signal, and in doing so creates some other problems. I think it feels like oversaturation because it feels like every messenger is just solving one complaint it has with Signal.
Yeah.
Not actually replacing everything Signal does. That's my issue. There's not, people say like, well, this is better than Signal. It's like, well, the usability is not better. It doesn't have the same features as Signal has. And it actually is like not as secure as Signal. So it's not better than Signal. It just solves one issue with Signal.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what everything is. Everything solves just one issue with Signal, but Signal still seems to be like the standard for like privacy and security for a messenger, even though it has that phone number requirement.
Unless you promote multiple messengers, saying Signal is the most popular is misleading at best and deceptive at worst. For someone always whining about nuance, you should know better.
I think Signal's been getting kind of a bad rep the last few years because of things like MobileCoin and even things like Stories, even though I kind of like the Stories feature because I think it makes it competitive to things like WhatsApp. A lot of people didn't like that because they thought that Signal was prioritizing the wrong things.
Yeah, they received a bad reputation for good reason. You're taking away development resources from username support by pushing features nobody asked for or even wanted. Being more private and secure than WhatsApp, Telegram, and Facebook Messenger was Signal's competitive edge. It didn't need to sell out by imitating those apps.